Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of interesting stuff that's been happening today between the Kamala Harris racism, the great old volleyball type of banning, and then we have the great what we would call now like California University BS that's been going on here. So yeah, we have a lot of interesting stuff that's really partaking into our today's society and how cancerous is actually being. Not to mention some of the other things that Newsom has put into law. There's a few things that Newsom has put into law recently that has not really been all that good, and we'll probably be going over those things probably in this video because it's a lot of insanity that we just don't really want to deal with. However, let's go look at this one to where the university doesn't seem to be very, Jewish friendly. California University, Jewish Free Zone bylaw adopted by 9 student groups. Oh, well, that can't possibly be racist. Oh, dear God. Guys, that's horrible. Free speech and the exchange of ideas cannot be romanticized when the byproduct of such rhetoric causes harm to marginalized communities, said reporters of the measure. Yeah, we don't talk about, like, the actual racism of white people. It's actively happening. White people are really second-class citizens in this day and age, at least in the America, because, you know, they just don't have these great, amazing rights anymore. Especially freedom of speech is being eroded, at least in California, because we all know that this is insanity by the left. Also racist as well. So not are they breaking the first Constitution, so the First Amendment, so that's the first thing that's going on here. Then they're also breaking one of the amendments, the 14th Amendment, which is also the racism part. So they're breaking 2 amendments so far, and I'm not quite seeing what's going on here. Yeah, that's more like Gavin Newsom that's dumb, by the way. But we'll go into this actual article. Berkeley law students for justice in Palestine shared a series of photos to their Instagram in late August, appearing to outline their proposed bylaws to boycott, sanction, and divest funds, institutions, organizations, companies, and any entity participating in or directly, indirectly complicit in the occupation of Palestinian territories and or supports the apartheid state of Israel. It says, BDS victory. Affinity groups vote to divest from occupation of Palestine. Swipe to read. Update from law students for justice in Palestine at Berkeley Law. It goes on to, I'll say that the proposed bylaw has been adopted by 9 different student groups at the university, which including Berkeley Law Muslim Student Association, Middle Eastern and North American Law Students Association, Women of Color Collective, and Asian Pacific Law Students Association, Queer Caucus, a Community Defense Project, Women of Berkeley Law, and Law Students of African Descent, according to LSJP Post. Law students of African descent has also adopted the bylaw Jewish Journal report on Wednesday. The organizers will not invite speakers that have expressed interest and continue to hold views, host, sponsor, or promote events that support Zionism, the apartheid state of Israel, and the occupation of Palestine. Reads the bylaw written by the LSJP, which is allegedly designed to protect the interest, safety, and welfare of Palestinian students on campus. Yeah, but you're actively being racist and revoking the freedom of speech as well. So good job on you for that. It says it is troubling to broadly exclude a particular viewpoint from from being expressed, said Dean of Berkeley School of Law Erwin Kaminsky, who appeared to criticize the bylaw. Indeed, taking literally, this would mean that I could not be invited to speak because I support the existence of Israel, though I condemn many of its policies. And it goes on to by the Jewish Journal and says it would not be acceptable for students to adopt bylaws banning black or Chinese speakers, perhaps with an exception for black or Chinese students who agree to criticize the communities. Free speech and the exchange of ideas cannot be romanticized when the bylaw program of such rhetoric causes harm, blah, 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 blah. So we have that. We have the Berkeley, Pakistan, which we will also blow this up here for people to all to read. So, I digress. So, it goes on to say, dear Berkeley Law community, our pride is a crime against humanity, and as student leaders at Berkeley Law, we believe that we have an obligation to act. The state of Israel is a apartheid state. It is established just like the United States through the genocide and displacement of indigenous people. An Amnesty International report published earlier this year reorganized what Palestinians have been saying for years and what their daily lived experiences demonstrate that Israel is an apartheid regime. Our report reveals the true extent of Israel's apartheid regime, whether they live in Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the rest of the West Bank, or Israel itself. Palestinians are treated as an inferior racial group and systematically deprived of their rights. We found that Israel's cruel policies of segregation, dispossession, and exclusion across all territories under its control clearly amount to apartheid. The international community has an obligation to act. This bylaw is about Palestine students and Palestine people supporting Palestine liberation. Does not mean opposition to the Jewish people or the Jewish religion. In fact, Jewish liberation and Palestinian liberation are intertwined, and we're committed to each other's safety. Please see the statement from anti-Zionist Jewish Berkeley law students in support of the bylaw and the following sides. Free speech and the exchange of ideas cannot be romanticized when the byproduct of such rhetoric causes harm to marginalized communities. The action of affinity groups to exercise democracy and choosing not to perform Zionists who are either active or complicit in causing harm to Palestinians from being platformed in their spaces is absolutely to tenable action. As scholars dedicated to the law in an American institution, it is imperative that we recognize our privileges and our responsibility as financiers of the Israeli occupation to hold the academic freedoms of Palestine students and scholars whose human right to education is impacted by Israel. Morally outraged, we have encouraged students to boycott the apartheid state and not lend platforms to speakers who support Zionist project of genocide and apartheid. The student organizations that have democratically voted to adopt the bylaw have done so in rejection of the Zionist ideology and the solidarity of the Palestine students in Berkeley law and beyond who have been displaced and have suffered violence as a result of Zionist rhetoric and action. We applaud all signatory organizations for their encouragement and for taking principled stance by adopting this bylaw. We stand with the Jewish community and their fight against bigotry and stand firmly against anti-Semitism. We also stand with the Jewish anti-Zionist classmates who have taken a stance against genocide and now face the blowback of Zionists who seek to erase their existence. And we stand with our classmates who are facing false accusations of anti-Semitism and methodical scare tactics for the Palestinian activism. Instead of receiving support for our fearless activism against a state that is murdering, disabling, and displacing Palestinian families day and night, a letter was sent to the students which caused confusion and, worst of all, lends support to Zionist students who have been harassing pro-Palestinian Berkeley's law students. Boycotts are an attempt to get Israel to stop stifling Palestinians' academic freedoms, Zionist closures of cities, raids on universities, military roadblocks, and the apartheid wall denies Palestinian students the fundamental rights to an education, deeming the boycott, divestment, and sanctions BDS movement as a threat to freedom. Instead of recognizing it as the now non-violent academic or tactic endorsed by a Palestinian civil society and modeled after the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, belittles the tactic of transnational solidarity movement dedicated to justice. The link Chemerinsky provided in this email was discredited to training the falsely equates anti-Semitism to the criticism of Israel. The Council's Committee for Palestine and Muslim students has also strongly condemned the video. False accusations of anti-Semitism are part of a broader strategy to strive for dissent and challenges to Zionism. In 2021, Affinity leaders met with Dean Chemerinsky and shared how this is exactly what happens to them when they participate in activism of Palestine's rights. The Dean even affirmed that such actions should not be taken against student activists. It is worth noting that even today, at this exact moment, many students are afraid to publish their names on these letters because they are afraid of being doxxed. Law students for justice in Palestine will continue to fight for student organizations to democratically adopt the bylaw. We encourage the Berkeley Law Community to attend our upcoming Palestine 101 training to learn how to further ensure all the prosperous and addressed. And they have all these other stuff here that is insanity. So we have a huge problem here with obviously these I say racist people, and honestly, people that are Marxists that are actively trying to remove these people from, being able to speak their mind, etc., etc. So we all know what California is. There's a bunch of Marxists, communists, racist people, and we know this. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be very much change for a while because these people are actively a piece of garbage human beings. honestly. I don't like being part of this state because they do not represent or agree to anything that I say. I actively hate majority of what this California has become, and I will actively hate these people that are being actively racist and revoking the people's freedom of speech to say anything about this. Guys, this is the reality that we're living in. We have to fight back because the only way we'll be able to win is be able to fighting back with the utmost impunity ever, because there's no way they should be. This in itself should not be allowed at all, period. It violates 2 of the amendments here. So, I don't know where we're going with this, but the Jewish people should sue the ever-living hell out of this school, this university, and the people that are doing this, so for racism and the violation of freedom of speech, because this is uncalled for. This is atrocious. Man, what a way to be in California. Worst state in the country, by far. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.